Warning. This program is intended for adults of legal drinking age. Whiskey is consumed and discussed. The intent is to educate our palates on the differences of whiskey flavors and not an intent to get drunk. Please drink responsibly.
Hi, everybody. We were just digging to the tunes that Alex and Arlo were laying down there. Oh my God, they're so great. I put the link in the chat there. You can go watch them make a song in an hour just based on viewer suggestions. Hi, everybody. I'm Andrew Pierce. I fucking love whiskey. I also fucking love Joseph Limbaugh, who is here. Joseph?
That's me. I'm Joseph Limbaugh. I fucking love whiskey. And we have a first guest on the show, someone I've known for, I guess, like over a decade now. I think but it doesn't seem like that, but yeah, Josh Flaum, welcome.
Hello. It's been honestly since like 1997. So
no, it hasn't. No.
Yeah, it has.
No.
We do each other. You visited Orlando a few times from Dad's garage and played in the Orlando Fringe Festival. And those were 96, 97, 98, that area. So that's where we first met and started hanging out. So it has been well over 20 years now.
Wow. Yeah, I knew you from Orlando. I just, I don't think about the time frame of that. You know what I mean? Like at this point, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Everything just degrades anyway. Like 10 years becomes one when you just, if you remember one thing from that decade, it just seems like, oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Hey, so what's this show about? We taste whiskey. The approximate time codes are down in the corner there. You can zip ahead if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact. Otherwise, you're going to have to bear with it and stick with us as we go through these things. We have 4 distillery exclusive, I think, from Broke-Laddie. The second one, the Biodynamic project, is probably available outside of the distillery, but I don't know. Yeah.
And is this our last show as far as distillery exclusives? I know it's our last show of the season, but these are all the distillery exclusives that you brought back? Okay, I'm sorry.
I think we've gone through almost all of them. There might be 1 or 2, so there's still some to look forward to.
Okay.
But this first one, Broke-Laddie put out the Rocks a long time ago, and here they're trying to recreate it, I guess. This tiny little 200 ml bottle. It's just so cute. It's so cute. This is at 46% unpeated single malt from Islay.
Now, oh yeah, so it's an unpeated single malt. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that unusual to have an unpeated thing from Islay? I feel like that is.
It's a little unusual. I mean, Broke-Laddie often puts out unpeated. So does Bunnahabhain often put out unpeated stuff, but the rest are peated for the most part.
This is very fruity and bright. I like it.
Oh, yum.
I might. I mean, I feel like it's early, but I might almost say this is my favorite whiskey. We'll have to see when I taste it. We'll see when I taste it.
I think it might be. I mean, like I'm getting. It's a cousin of the classic Laddie. It's definitely in that neighborhood.
I feel like it has a little more personality than that, though.
Sweetness.
Yeah, Josh, what do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of sweetness. There's something like I'm getting like a lot of like brown sugar. Again, I'm not an expert when it comes to smelling something and then coming up with the things it smells like. But
that's not why you're on the show.
Yeah. That's why we have Thad. We aren't experts either, really. It's just we expect that from Thad. We put all that responsibility on him. So we can just flaff about and say whatever the hell we want. Oh, you're already tasting it. All right. Are we tasting it?
Sorry, yes, I am.
We're not supposed to. Here we go. I'm gonna.
We try to coordinate. I just went ahead. I was so excited by it.
Yeah, sometimes you can't help it. Okay, well that's definitely my favorite whiskey, which is weird because like the classic Laddie is not, but this has something a bit more to it. To me, it has like the classic Laddie's a little bit thinner, I think, and this has like a full body to it.
I kind of know what you mean. In the middle here, there's kind of almost a nice caramel like note. This kind of lozenge like feeling, and it's still oily in my mouth.
Like the oily, yeah. And I think also at 48%, like it's not often that a whiskey at that level is going to be my favorite. Because I think a lot of the lower percentage whiskeys are, I don't know, that like they're just a little thinner for me, but this seems like a full bodied. I guess 48 is pretty good. I don't know.
There is a fruitiness to it too. Like I wouldn't say like a tartness, but almost like caramelized apricots.
Yeah,
a mild fruit.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it does. We had like an apricot tree in my backyard when I was a kid, and like it was always dying, like you know what I mean. But it would produce like at least like 5 good apricots a year, and like as a kid, I would go up and climb up there and try to find them. Yeah, there's nothing better than like a tree picked apricot that's perfectly ripe. You know.
The problem with the fruit tree is that the rats get most of it. It's either the squirrels or the rats or something.
Or the birds.
Or the birds.
Yeah.
You're feeding the local flora.
Yeah. We had an apricot tree and then an apple tree, and I swear, like the apples, I think they might have turned red if they'd gotten far enough, but like those were the best apples I ever had in my life. Off the tree, like those are amazing.
All right, I'm gonna try the water.
Oh, already?
Okay.
Oh wait, do we wait?
No. If you want to do
wait?
science,
You
can do science.
can rush ahead in science.
I don't know that I want to. I really
I wouldn't recommend sciencing it. I think this is pretty good where it is.
I usually raw dog my whiskeys. Like I never put water in them, and I know that I'm supposed to in some cases, but
You're not supposed to. There's no supposed to.
Not supposed to.
There's no, whoever told you that, I disagree.
Esquire.com, have you heard of them?
Simcoe says Joshua's like, stand back, amateurs.
I'm putting the water
sciencing
in
this. Full science.
Yeah, this is really good.
Yeah.
That is that's a nice Broke-Laddie.
And there's a nice like savory note in there too. It's like
it's
it's almost like a barbecue sauce made with apricots, or
maybe that kind of like that
like
bit of
the
vinegar
brown,
in
brown
it,
sugar and the vinegar and the the little bit of caramelization in there.
You know what? I am going to do it though.
Well, I'm going to wait and see what you say, because I have a feeling at 48%, sciencing it is not going to be.
Just a drop.
Oh, the nose. It should make the nose bigger. I find water so often just erased it. Like, look, I'm right in there. And I just get alcohol. I don't get any of that aroma that we first got.
That's actually an interesting point, because like it definitely taste-wise brought out the alcohol and killed that sort of smoothness that existed. Yeah, I actually like it without the water much better.
I like it without the water much better.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't science it. To me, this smells and tastes like, it reminds me of like a perfect summer day as a child. Like you go outside, you play on a sprinkler, and then you maybe eat some watermelon. You have like one of those. You have like a bomb pop. You play hide and seek, and then at the end of the night, maybe you play a little Atari 2600 before you go to bed. Like a perfect summer day. That's right.
Yeah, it's like what it reminds me of, and this is not going to make any sense to anybody but me, but like there was a bar in Orlando years ago that actually had a school bus in the back area that was converted into a seating area.
Oh, okay.
And that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of drinking in a school bus.
There is something very young and friendly. It reminds me of childhood, like in a weird,
It's like lawn darts and souvlaki. If you grew up in Toronto in the Greek neighborhood like I did, there's that light smokiness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lick'em sticks making a gimp at the park, right?
Lick'em-aid. Oh, I haven't thought about that in years. The flavored sugar that came in pouches, and you had a stick, and you would lick the stick first. And this is for the younger people watching this. I'm assuming a lot of 12 and 13-year-olds.
Probably. Let's hope not. No.
But you just stick that stick in the pouch of sugar, and then you'd lick the sugar off the sugar stick.
The stick was kind of sweet, and the stuff in the pouch was kind of tart. Right. But I liked just the flavor of the stick too. It was like a mild sweet vanilla sort of flavor.
Yeah, it was just made of sugar. That's the best part about all old candies, is they're just all pure.
Just sugar.
I am so sad I put water in that. Like, honestly, I'm really annoyed at myself. Thaddeus, what do you think of it?
Yeah. I'll agree with you with the no with water on this one. Like, it's not the worst thing that's happened to whiskey with water added to it, but you know, it's definitely better without, in my opinion. Without water, on the nose, I was getting some grapes, pears, and some fermented bananas initially. After letting it sit a little bit, there was like a very umami, like mushroom-esque hints in there. Like I don't know how to describe it, so I'm gonna use my least favorite word, umami, to do so.
Yeah, that's a savory thing I was talking about. Yeah, I think it's umami. Yeah, you're right.
And then past that, there were some vanilla and a little bit of like some fresh butterscotch caramels, like in there, like the candies that your grandmother would give you, right? Like that. On the taste, the caramels followed through. Like they were definitely there. It was sweet, and then there were like little pockets of anise and like just spicier. They're not herbs. The opposite of herbs. The seeds that herbs are from. Spices. Wow, easy. And the finish was like semi-dry.
Or wait, you're talking about spices, like herbs and like spices are. Now I'm confused. Like seeds or spices.
Are you thinking of like fennel, like?
Or anise?
No. I was thinking of the term for like what a seed is that sprouts into an herb. Right? Yeah, but like coriander, right? So coriander is the seed for cilantro. Like you can use coriander in cooking. And
coriander's a spice, and cilantro is an herb. I would say. I think an herb is like the leaves of the plant, whereas a spice could be both the leaves or the seeds.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember the term for spice.
Cleared this.
I fucking love spice.
Yeah.
Well, I fucking love herbs.
With water.
I interrupted your description. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're totally fine. It was a fantastic detour to have. With water, it definitely killed off a bunch of the nose. It made it very one-dimensional, but more floral notes came out for me, and like the savory note turned into like olives in a brine, like green olives in a brine. But that wasn't very. It wasn't very headstrong there. And the taste, it just became bitter and sour, and you know, not really what I wanted after I had a nice, delicious caramel sweet adventure.
Yeah, it was the wrong way to go.
It was a caramel sweet adventure. You're right.
Well, I'm so excited. I want to go on to the next whiskey already. Is that okay with everyone?
That's
I mean, we're a little early. Well, early, but you know,
It's
that's
only
going to give more
5:12.
time.
All right, well, I have
some
to
of the
finish this.
peaty stuff that's coming up, so I'm happy with that.
All right.
All right, so here's another one I got at the distillery, the Biodynamic project, Broke-Laddie. So this is probably going to have a lot of kind of similar taste notes in it because it is basically a Broke-Laddie, but it's just the Biodynamic project. So they're using barley that you know, helps repair the soil. They're trying to make sure that this is kind of a very sustainable way to make whiskey.
So this is like solar whiskey.
Yeah, sure.
Really isn't all whiskey solar whiskey since it's made from barley. Like, I mean,
I mean, everything's solar if you really think hard on it.
That's true. Everything that's alive is solar.
Yeah.
Right. And everything that's died in the past that's gone on to make oil and coal is because they were solar.
Because of solar,
Yeah.
Well, and the sun's rays are inescapable.
I guess our sun's pretty important to us.
So isn't gasoline really solar power?
I think we've solved everything here in this moment, climate-wise.
Maybe. Or maybe missing some facts. I'm not.
So this is peated, though. You're saying it's peated?
No, this is not peated. This is again just a Broke-Laddie.
Okay, so you were talking about the peated stuff to come after this.
Yeah,
And
there's
the
two
color
more
of this is
peated.
much lighter. It's almost like a white wine.
Right?
It is lighter, yeah.
Great
It
deal.
is. It is a bit like this is that one, and this is
Right.
just a little bit lighter, a little bit paler. It is like a white wine.
It's a lot less substantial in the nose for me. Like this is fresh laundry.
Yeah.
Sitting on a line outside.
Yeah, it's definitely open. There's more space, more air. You're outside in a field. It's lighter. It's less of those sweet notes. They're there, but they're it's like the flowers are down the road.
In a good way, it smells like soap to me. Not the soapy part of soap, but the actual like
the clean that's left over.
Yes,
after
exactly.
soap sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like the wholesomeness of soap and not the cloying, like burns my nose-ness of soap.
Yeah, really nice, really nice.
Yeah, I wish that if like I did my laundry, it smelled like this, or that I had like laundry detergent that would make my clothes smell like this. Like, oh boy. Yeah.
I mean, if your clothes smelled like this, it would complicate like job interviews, but at the same time, maybe
getting pulled over by a cop, probably.
Sure.
Be a little...
Well, without the alcohol part.
Oh, I see.
Obviously.
Okay.
there's also a weedy afternote in the scent. Like you mentioned fields, and it's like, oh, it's a wheat field.
Mm-hmm.
Or now I'm thinking of like that the wheat where you'd get the like the cereal where you would have like the big wheat, like what is that called? Wheaties, I guess, right?
There's
But then
Wheaties.
if you go to Britain, it's like one giant like wheat.
Oh,
chunk,
so that's
you know,
not
like-
Wheaties. That's shredded wheat.
Shredded wheat. That's
Ah,
right. Yes,
yum.
that's it. This reminds me of shredded wheat.
I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna go into it.
Okay.
Oh,
yes.
okay. All right. Here we go.
Let's try it. Let's do it.
It's again my favorite whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
It's yummy.
Not that I've eaten a lot of it, but it does taste a little bit like plastic packaging. There's-
I'm thinking like one of those like lavender candies that tastes a little bit like that plastic. I'm with you.
and again, it's not the unpleasant part of plastic. It's more
Right.
No, exactly. No, weeds in a good way.
yeah, it's the healthy
Hokey
part of
engineer.
plastic.
Weeds in a good way. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have to say these are two of my most favorite Broke-Laddies I think I've ever had. Like these are phenomenal Broke-Laddies. Like I'm not normally like, oh, give me a Broke-Laddie. Like I like them, you know, but these are like, once again, I agree with Andrew. Both these are my favorite whiskeys, you know.
This is also much sweeter than the last one. Like there's a real cane sugar note. Like the other one was the brown sugar. This one is actual granulated, bleached, but in a good way.
There's no, the savoriness isn't there. Like it's a lighter sugar. I feel like the sugar in the previous one was more like a brown sugar, whereas this is more like a lighter, and so it's less thick in a way. It's like a lighter, like a really light cane sugar.
I wish everyone could taste it with us, you know, so they'd understand like, no, that the weeds and plastic, it's actually in a good way,
Yeah.
right? It's the
Yeah.
best parts of those things.
Because
Yes.
when you say out loud, this tastes like plastic, it's an immediate negative response in
From
terms
a
of
lot
like,
of
oh, well,
people.
then you shouldn't
Yeah.
drink that.
It's like,
But-
no,
I
I
don't think I can count the number of times I've smelled a whiskey and said, this smells like diesel. And,
Yeah.
But what I mean is, but in a good way. Like it's the most delicious diesel you will ever smell.
Oh,
Yeah, to me, this is like another summer with kids. It's like, but this is like on the playground with the swirly slide. You're like, you know, you're with other kids. You're at the park. There's the swings. It reminds me of the playground.
Interesting, because yes, it's the tube slide, the plastic tube slide, that smell you get when you go down, and it's almost like when you're actually sliding on that slide, the friction on the plastic is the water that you add to whiskey. So like it actually changed the flavor of the smell, if that makes any sense to anybody at all.
I got you. I followed that.
Hello,
Hello, cat.
Bowie passing through.
Yeah, you know, I agree, Hokey engineer. I actually like the smell of jet fuel. Like it's terrible for you, but I just love that smell.
Yeah, or sometimes even like it'll be the smell of bog, or you know, like stuff burning plastic, but not this. This does not have burning plastic in it. This is like fresh, pure, maybe a little bit of model glue. Like you're just about to put together, like when you're a kid and you get that model and you're about to you get the glue, you know, that special model glue, and you're about to put together the thing.
You know what else for me, and I hope this translates. It's like a carnival funhouse. That there, whenever you go into one of those fun houses that actually has a car that you get in and it drives you through, they have those rubber
Yeah.
Little bars that come down.
yeah, little rubber bars just to hide what's coming next, and then you go through and it rubs against your face and you're like, ugh, I've got hepatitis now. But again, and please, I want everybody to know that all of this is supposed to be pleasant, because that is like, I love that experience. I think it's one of my favorite things is to go to a carnival funhouse and just get driven through the madness. But
I would say there's a hint of like carnival in general in this, like, you know, the in the background there's like fried stuff and cotton candy and the, you know,
yeah,
The candy
like the weird
apple.
sugary stuff and
the
It's bubbly.
powdered donut strudel thing that they sell, the
and the smell of even like the when if you win one of those stuffed animals, they have the weird sickly sweet sort of smell to them, you know.
yeah, the chemical spray.
Yeah, so we're really selling this. This sounds so good. It's just like it's chemicals and plastic. And
It's like fire retardant in a good way.
Yeah. Carnivals. Carnivals. Like, who doesn't love a carny? Yeah.
All right. Are we
Yeah.
science? I'll do it.
Yeah, let's
I'll do it this
science.
time. I feel bad I didn't last time. I do feel like at 50%, I feel like we have a better chance, but I still feel like science is not the way to go with this, but I'm going to give it a try.
This is
The water definitely cut through the harshness.
yeah. I like the last one. I was very annoyed with myself immediately for putting water in. This one, I'm not.
I'm not annoyed with the nose. Like it's more that clean laundry to me with the nose. It's definitely like just a nice fresh, like I'm sitting out on a linen blanket that's freshly cleaned, and I'm out in a field.
And weirdly, again, I never put water in my whiskey, so it is fascinating to see how it changes the smell and taste.
Yeah.
And for me, this added a little floral note.
I get like a wool blanket.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah, this could be more like you're sitting out, like watching a movie, you know, on a field, you know, on a wool blanket at night, sort of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Walking behind the DDT machine. Is there a DDT machine though?
Was there used to be? I think they used to like just spray it on everything, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, it killed bald eagles and
farm workers.
I think
And
they even
bees.
addressed it on the G.I. Joe cartoon at one point.
Go Joe Cobra.
I'm bringing you DDT.
This is actually better, I think, with the water in it. Like, it was good before, but it is definitely a little more refined now.
I think
Have
the nose
you
is more
tasted
robust.
it? Did you taste it?
Yeah.
I'm
uh-huh.
tasting that.
I haven't tasted it yet with water, so.
Oh, yum. Oh, it's better with water. Damn it.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I think it is. I like this better with water.
The water adds a complexity. So, like, there are more flavors. It's almost...
It had a nice, warm, savory heat at the end. Like before, it was just like a lot of clear, like pipey high notes. And now there's like, those are there, but then they go down to like a deeper sort of rich.
Kind of the caramel center of the previous one is here with water.
The finish is way better with this.
Yeah. And the texture is more like Pop Rocks to me. Like, it definitely hits the palate differently.
Yeah. We should check in with Thad, see what he says. He might
Yeah,
disagree with us. He's brutally honest. He might be like, don't put water in this. These guys are idiots, which is fine.
I'm all on board with you guys. This is water. Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it without water. And with, you know, let's just get into it. Actually, no, before we get into this, are you serious that wheat or shredded wheat is literally just a big block of shredded wheat, like one wheat in England?
In Britain, it is. They just have
huge.
one big thing, and you shred it up. You shred it yourself. It's weird because it's called shredded wheat, but it's not pre-shredded, right? You have to shred it.
That's amazing, and I thought that was just a joke on Ted Lasso that they threw in there. But you know, okay. I
mean,
dig it.
It feels really old school too in terms of things that you eat. It feels like this is something that would have been prepared for you in 1870. the old ones, because you do have you pour milk over it, you wait till the milk soaks in, and then you can shred it. Otherwise, it's like dry,
it will just
palatable garbage.
Crumble. Yeah.
Simcoe says Weetabix is what it's called.
As Weetabix.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, in Canada, we had. Yep, there it is. That's exactly it. And the smaller version of it in Canada was called Shreddies. So it was a friendlier version of the shredded giant chunk of shredded wheat.
I grew up on Shreddies. Yeah.
Those were delicious. Really, because they were like little milk sponges. That's all it was. It was like milk soaked wheat.
I guess it is shredded and then it's like reconstituted into that and then it has to be shredded again.
Yeah.
So technically, I guess that's correct, but I do wonder it must be like a cheaper process to make the big one, and then at a certain point, like they built machines that were like, we can build the machines that make the smaller ones, but
or maybe there's more air when you make them smaller. That would be my guess.
Oh yeah, downsizing.
Weetabix, that's absolutely right. Yeah.
What's that term for when you put less in a package and that's inflation? Smallflation, shrinkflation.
Oh, I read it today. Of course, I have already forgotten it. It's not the whiskey's fault. It's just my dumb brain. But
It's shrinkflation.
Never blame the whiskey.
Shrinkflation.
What was that, Thad?
Shrinkflation.
Shrinkflation. Also, Thad, we didn't hear your tasting notes.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Sorry for that tangent. So on the nose, this is all without water. I got like walking through a field of grass. There were hints of light brown sugar thrown in there. I totally agree with the clean soap, like the smell of soap or clean hands with soap. And then there were little bits and hints of like salty, like mollusky seafoods. So like clams, the other ones that I can't remember right now, mussels. Yeah, clams, mussels, crawfish. Right.
And then you just can't name them.
Yeah,
exactly. Scallops too. But on the taste, for me without water, it was definitely very floral. It was very hot. It was spicy and it was spicy that just lingered with you. And then it was also somewhat sweet. With water, the nose definitely became more like of a sweet floral, like kind of like honeysuckles maybe, but not really that, but like flowers that had sugar like danced upon them, right? And then the taste, I love it. I love water. I love it with water for the taste, right? It took down the heat considerably. It added more salty notes to it and a little bit more like savory seafood notes to it, which I love seafood, so it's right up my alley.
Yeah, you love it, but you can't name it. I got it.
No, I do feel like scallops is a good because it has that sort of buttery scallops are one of my favorite seafoods. So expensive. But so weird because you don't expect people don't know they're a shellfish when they first eat them sometimes,
right?
What I mean? But they're basically like sea snails, right? They're like that have been.
They're hard to cook too. Like if you are serious about your seafood, that like it's better to go to a restaurant.
It's easy to overcook them and make them rubbery. Yeah, you got to really
rubbery.
Know what you're doing. Yeah. Is that it? Thad? Anything else?
That was all. I do like the finish on this one more than the other one. It was less dry, kind of coated the mouth more, a little bit more oily. Overall, I like this one more than the previous one. But it's a Broke-Laddie, and all these are from Broke-Laddie, which I do. Probably one of my top distilleries, actually.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's not for me, but I really loved both of these a lot. Like based on these, I would put it at one of my top.
I mean, I know you like the Octomore and the Port Charlotte they produce, so
that's true. I guess I always think I know that those are Broke-Laddie, but I always think of those as like a different distillery because they because of the name.
They're just it's the same kettles that make it. They just use
but like the classic laddie is what I think about. You know what I mean? And that's
I mean,
I like it, but it's like I would not.
It's not your reach to, right? It's like Port Charlotte 10. I would reach for that all the time. I get there. You Ugadal from Ardbeg. Oh my God, my heart.
It was Thaddeus that brought up the spiciness too.
Yeah.
There is. It stays on the tongue a long time.
It's still here.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
That's so great. So great. Josh, I don't know if I told you earlier, but I fucking love whiskey. just wanted to clarify that.
Hey, I'm on the show because I also do.
Okay, good. That's good. Good.
I like you guys too. You're fine.
I tolerate you two because I fucking love whiskey.
I fucking love whiskey.
I like Josh. I haven't seen Josh in a long time. I do feel like having him on the show is like kind of a way to catch up with him, yeah.
And forcing him to drink, so he's honest.
Forcing
the Octomore.
Forcing.
10 aged years.
Nobody has
still
ever
exclusive
forced
here.
me. Sorry.
Adams signed it there. Well, virtually signed it anyway. Octomore 10, very dark bottle. The obelisk.
The darkest one so far.
They do a very heavily peated Octomore. Like I think the Octomore 6 or 7 or 8, I can't remember which one of those, but it was like an insane amount of peating. This one's only peated to 90.3 parts per million. And again, that's the kernels as they come out of the dryer, not as they're finely distilled. Like there's a lot fewer phenols in this than 90.
So this is like a lower, because Octomore generally it's all about the peat. So this is like a lower peat Octomore basically.
It's a lower peat Octomore. However,
still more peat than anything
most distilleries
else.
only go to 50 parts per million, like
right.
Ardbeg and whatnot that are super.
And this is 90 parts per million.
This is 90 parts per million. Yeah. So
you don't say.
It's my favorite whiskey. I don't even need to. I just need
say.
to sniff it once. I can know this.
Yeah, I'm on board for this. Now this is the one where it's like you get that stuff like a diesel or like
Yeah.
This smells like construction to me. This is like when you pass a construction zone and there's that like morass of smells, and some of it's good and actually some of it's not this time around. I think there's a bit of tarriness.
There's a tarriness to it.
I was gonna say, yeah, it smells like freshly laid tar on the street,
which I don't like, but I also respect,
but in a good way. Hokey in
Yeah.
here, just to forestall you.
Oh boy, yeah, my favorite whiskey. Like I think the way we're headed now, I have a feeling that like all 4 of these whiskeys are going to be my favorite whiskey today.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know that that's ever happened. It must have happened before at some point. But
that's a lovely color too. I have to say, I am a big fan of different, like the different colors of whiskey, and then how that sort of affects the taste of said whiskey.
So this spent 5 years in an ex-bourbon barrel, as most whiskeys do. Not all, but most. And then 5 years in a Spanish Ribera del Duero.
How's it
wine
spelled?
cask. It's a Spanish wine.
Okay.
So that's probably responsible for the darker color in there.
Yeah. And Josh, you should know that the color means nothing. That a lot of distilleries just put coloring in there. Like the color has nothing to do with the flavor. It's just a marketing thing.
I guess I should know that. But
well, I mean, most people don't know that. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like, but I still like the color. Like I like
when it's pretty, it's good to look at, but it doesn't tell you anything about the taste necessarily.
Okay, fair enough. Like I had no idea. I actually thought that like it came out the way that it came out.
I was surprised to know that too.
Yeah. A lot of distillers will actually put no color on the label, but there's some that don't. And if you leave, a little bit in your glass overnight, you look in the morning, it's like, wow, what's that condensation in the bottom?
Right.
There?
Okay, that makes sense. All right, here we go.
Oh, did you taste it? You tasted it. Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm so excited.
Are we not supposed to?
No, of course we are. Just like we try to coordinate, as I said.
Please try to all do it at the same time. That's all.
Tipsy Asparagus says that we have said everyone's our favorite on some of the SMWS episodes. So that seems funny.
No, that makes sense. Oh my God. This is my favorite though. Like as far as Octomores go, I really love this because
powerhouse.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Where are we? 56.3%. It's gonna hit you.
I mean, I kind of like that it's a lower peat Octomore because I feel like with a lot of Octomores I've had like recently, it's like they're really just like, we're gonna beat it up for you, you know what I mean? And I love that. But this, I feel like, I don't know, the peat is not overwhelming the other stuff going on,
It's just a beautiful color though.
I love
really like that.
Yeah, it's like a garage. This is like a garage with an engine running in the background, like a a mechanic garage. Like, there's a car up on the lift, and there's some tires over there in the corner. And it's also like a messy garage. It's not a clean, well-organized garage. This garage is like got, couple people with like, overalls. It's greasy. There's a mess, maybe it's a garage of a dad or a grandpa, on a farm.
Honestly, it's like a European garage for me. Like there's somebody swearing in Portuguese in the corner and throwing a dirty rag at somebody. Honestly, this tastes in a good way like my own burnt eyelashes.
Now, do you have a data point have you burnt your eyelashes?
I want to know the data point for that.
Some point, yeah.
So I had LASIK, and not only your eye gets a little fried, they film it for you so you can see how it works.
No, thank you.
And I watched the video and I posted it on YouTube years ago, which you can find. Just go to YouTube, Josh Flaum, LASIK surgery. Holy shit, I did this thing. It's findable. But there's a point at which, like, in my own personal experience, I smelled my own eyeball. And then you watch the video and you can see the smoke coming off of my eyeball because they're using a laser. It's actually like pretty impressive in terms of the science of it. But it's both pleasant and unpleasant. Pleasant knowing that I'm going to see better, and unpleasant knowing that, hey, they're burning a piece of my eyeball off.
So you didn't smell your eyelashes, you smelled your eye burning. Right,
but you also, there's a little bit of hair.
I guess
smell.
hair smells stronger than I'm sure eye does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so really, it's not what I'm tasting is not the gelatinous part of my eyeball. It's the hair around it.
It's the hair. Okay. All right.
Now this is interesting.
Everybody out there, you should try this.
I recently went to the optometrist because I've always wanted to get LASIK. And apparently because of my age, they were recommending not LASIK, but that they remove the lenses from my eyes and replace them with artificial lenses. And they've been doing this for about 7 years. The optometrist is like, I've done over 1,000 of these, and it's better than LASIK because it'll never degrade. And it will also, like when you get old, your eyes get cataracts.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm probably starting to get them because I have a hard time seeing in the dark. So without a lot of light, and that will fix that. But it's also just like, wait, you're going to pull out my lens and like put in another one. And I'm like, I'm kind of considering it.
I trust that more than I trust LASIK now that I've done it, because the LASIK surgery for me was great for 4 years. It basically, I paid $1,000 a year for perfect eyesight. And then it degraded so quickly. I'm now back to my old prescription and probably a little worse.
Wow. And that's rapid.
It was way too fast. For my grandfather, he got RK. So like before he passed away, he was like, I just want to enjoy my eyesight again. So he got RK. And it lasted 8 years for him. So like it was better.
Your mileage may vary, yeah.
Wait,
RK, is that when you replace the lenses? Is that what you're talking about, or is that?
No, it's older than LASIK. So the replacing of the lenses is actually probably a newer process.
Yeah, I think they've only been doing it about 7 years. The other thing is because they're replacing your lenses, you can go on your insurance, because if you have cataracts, they can do this surgery. Whereas LASIK is fully, what's that word when you choose to do a surgery?
Elective.
It's fully elective.
Electric.
It's
electric.
Boogie oogie oogie.
Radial.
It's elective.
Keratotomy. I think
radial keratotomy.
Keratotomy. Okay, Okay.
Now,
radial keratotomy.
I also agree. That's probably the most unrelatable smell we've ever had on the show.
Yeah. It smells like eyes burning, right? I mean, you all know.
Everyone knows that, right?
Interesting thing about LASIK, my wife and I got it the same year before we even met. So when we met, we had the same prescription. And so she was able to actually like lend me her glasses when I needed them, and vice versa. And ultimately she used her own prescription to surprise me with a pair of prescription sunglasses for Christmas one year, all because of LASIK. And then my eyes started to degrade way faster than hers.
Is she experiencing some of the same effects?
A little bit, but it's not as bad as mine. Like my prescription.
It depends. Like my brother got it, and his has been going strong for a long time. So, did you freeze? I feel like you just froze.
Is this me?
No.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of
I feel
internet.
like you all froze.
Yeah,
I didn't experience anyone freezing at all.
we lost some packets. We lost some packets,
people. That's what happened.
I'm being told that my internet connection is unstable, and that makes sense because I'm with Spectrum and they're not good.
No, Spectrum sucks, but the fact is all of internet is unstable. Like the thing is that people don't realize about internet is like there's no guarantee that any of this data will get where it's going. Like that is literally how the internet works. It's like we're going to send it out there, but it's built under the assumption that some of it's just
some packets are going to get lost.
Yeah, like the fidelity is not. That's not what Bowie. What is your? That's twice now. I think that's a record.
He wants to get on. He loves whiskey too. I think that's what it is.
Right.
I like Simcoe's.
You're going to science this?
Here.
I am going to science this because.
Wait, I want to read what Simcoe wrote because there's a lot of stuff here. This is why these are distillery exclusives. If everyone had access to these whiskeys, the world would grind to a halt. Everyone would be sitting around in circles with their friends, sipping drams and reminiscing about the scent of eyeballs and apricot trees, like live action à la
Recherche de temps perdu.
You're Canadian. You're both Canadian.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So what does that mean?
That means
thinking about lost times.
Yeah. Basically seeking, reminiscing about lost time.
Avec le pomme de terre.
With potatoes is what you just said.
Merci le juste pamplemousse.
I know what I said.
Okay, great. And then you're talking about grapefruit.
This is good.
This is really good. So wait, Josh, you scienced it, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I don't think I've ever scienced an Octomore in my life.
Wow.
Because they're so. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever have.
I don't want to.
It definitely got sweeter to the smell.
Wow. So some more of the wine comes out.
Yeah. But also a styrofoamy note. I gotta taste it. The smell is not doing me any favors.
Yeah, I want to see what you think. I want to see what happens when you taste it.
It's a Proust novel, of course. Yes, Marcel Proust.
Au recherche de temps perdu.
I hate that we have such literary studied people in our chat.
And nerdy. Like I'm going to start a Proust LARP.
It makes me nervous.
That's my next project. Come to my Proust LARP. Next week, I'm going to do a Nietzsche LARP.
All right. So having put water in this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you say.
The harshness disappears. It becomes much smoother. It stays on the tongue more.
Damn it,
do you like it better with water?
I think I do. I think it cuts that peatiness just a little bit, but it brings it out as well. What happened?
No, you said it cuts the peatiness just after
the harshness. So I'm gonna wait and see what Andrew says too. But this is all subjective. It's all subjective.
A little bit of more of the diesel comes out. I think cuts down the tar in the nose, and it's more diesely.
Mm-hmm. Which,
in a good way, Hokey Engineer, in a good way. I feel we're just admonishing Hokey Engineer. That's not our intent here. So.
Are they even still there?
And you know what? It doesn't kill the taste. It is I think it kills the finish though. I think it becomes a very quick drop off at the end. It doesn't linger as much. The alcohol stays, but none of the flavor does. That's
brings out the alcohol. It kills the peatiness a little bit. So it's got a bit of a fallen leaves taste, if that makes any sense at all.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah. I think a lot of peaty whiskeys have a fallen leaves sort of smell and taste because it's decayed organic matter, like
it's still my favorite whiskey.
I'm gonna wait for another data point. Thad, what do you got here? I'm sure you put water in it by now.
I put water in it. Um, I'm gonna say that this is something that it's. If someone likes it with water, I won't say that they're wrong. Would I do it?
Dramatic.
No, but I can honestly see the appeal for without water. Sorry, with water. I mean, without water, like for me, right off the bat, it's like it's at night. You're on the beach. There's a campfire. You're sitting down, like feet in the sand, and just wind blowing salt water into your face. Right. Past that, there's some savory notes of like some like pork being smoked. Then you have hints of lighter notes that I would say would be like some pears and like rice pudding that is topped with a little bit of honey and nutmeg sprinkled on top. Um, for me, the taste without water is just a leather boot, and old engine oil, like the oil that you're replacing that's coming out of your car. Not fresh oil, but old. And the finish for me was very green and leafy. With water, I don't hate it. Sweeter notes came out, but it killed off the peat for me, which I absolutely love peat. Like, so that's kind of why, you know. But you could also smell like fresh wood, like fresh oak, and it was a little bit briny. And as far as
brininess.
like the plasticky smell that Josh got, I would say for me, it's like Scotch tape coming fresh off of the roll. Like you just ripped it right
Okay.
off the roll, like that taste or that smell.
Yeah, not
Um,
plastic, but maybe cellophane. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, and then the taste for me, it got a lot hotter. It became more green, and you had notes of like fresh water just popping out.
Also, good call on the brininess. Like that's the one that I was trying to put to words, but that's exactly right. It's like that sort of sea urchin brininess that in always in a pleasant way. The that just comes out, especially with the water.
Like if you get sea urchin at a good sushi place where it's fresh, that is, yeah, very much so.
Where they put it in a little shot glass.
I do love that. It's like, yeah, I feel like if you're not a huge peat person, like with water, this is probably going to be more to your taste,
Right.
which makes total sense. Peat is a controversial data point.
It is. It's a dividing line.
Some people
But
love it.
Josh, you said you like Lagavulin, and that you say that it's like, oh, it's not that peated. It's like it's pretty heavily peated.
It is, but it's
got the
Lagavulin
sherry
has-
that balances
yeah.
it. Yeah, I get it. I mean,
Like
that
it is a
a
very
special
balanced peat.
whiskey for me. Like I generally like bourbons over scotches, but Lagavulin 16 is my very favorite. And the peatiness works in with the flavors of the whiskey for, and again, like I don't hate a peaty whiskey, but sometimes I have trouble drinking a lot of it.
That makes sense. Now you said you like bourbons. What bourbons do you like? Like what is your because we don't have a lot of bourbons on the show, but I do occasionally, I like bourbons sometimes.
So I do like Eagle Rare, Blanton's. Blanton's to me is actually like, I've heard people describe it as like nothing special, and it is hard to find. It's got a special bottle. It's got the special cork. But I actually really like it. I think it's a complex flavor. It's got the sweetness. It's got that sort of oakiness. But also, what is it? There's another one. Four Roses.
Four Roses. I like
Four Roses. That's good bourbon. Yeah.
Four Roses is the most underrated of all bourbons, in my opinion. I think that if you grab the cask strength Four Roses, you're
right. I don't
have you
want
had Rittenhouse? Have you had
other
Rittenhouse
bourbons
before?
It's so hard to find. I don't know if we've had it on the show. I've certainly had it.
Rittenhouse is like often it's like a house bourbon, but it is like as far as like a low price bourbon, like Rittenhouse is that's a good bourbon.
Well, and as far as house bourbons go, I think the most underrated bourbon is Old Grandad. That is one that you can find for anywhere between $14 and $16. It's often bottom shelf in bars, but on its own is actually a top quality bourbon. That and Wild Turkey are, you know, like you can find Wild Turkey anywhere here, but I actually have heard that it's more in demand overseas because it's so high quality. Like, and I truly enjoy it. You know, that's one that I would put a little bit of water in, especially if you're going with the higher alcohol.
Well, no, I like bourbons. I would put water in because they're so sweet. And for me, the water, even ice, like for me, bourbons like that, it cuts the sweetness off because they're like the corn just makes them so sweet. You know?
Yeah, it's too much for me. If I have a bourbon, I want a nice big artisanal ice cube in the middle of that just to really drop that temperature.
We gotta move on though. We gotta get to
we got one last one.
We don't have to stop, but we have to get to the next whiskey. Port Charlotte.
Distillery exclusive again, a hand filled. I mean, you can get the Port Charlotte 10 at most stores, and it's fantastic. I would ask you to do that.
Port Charlotte 10 is like my favorite whiskey as far as like what I drink regularly. Like I love Port Charlotte.
It's just right in the pocket. It's just like exactly what you want. If you like a little bit of peat, you like the sweetness. The 10 is great. This is SYC03, which so it's the third single cask Valinch from the distillery store there. It's a second fill Syrah hogshead that give it the color.
Syrah, interesting.
Hey, Syrah,
and this is the darkest of the ones we've had so far. I'm excited. Oh, this is 61.70%.
This is my fucking favorite whiskey. Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah, that's delicious. It smells delicious.
Oh.
This has that sort of yellow cake smell with birthday frosting. The confetti frosting.
Mm-hmm.
This is like if I was Thanos. And I found like the oldest, most delicious candy store and toffee store in the world. And I used the Infinity Stones to turn that entire store into a drink. Like I just compressed it down and made it into this. And then I was like, I'm Thanos. And you know, that's what this would be.
I would go different than yellow cake. I would say this is more like the, what do they call that? The red velvet cake. Sort of thing. That's
I would say it's like the top of a pineapple upside down cake without the pineapples, like just the brown sugar with the caramelization of the pineapple sugar in it.
I think we agree on cake. Certainly. Yeah. This is a cake.
This is a cakey whiskey.
But this is a cake that's almost burnt, like on purpose. Like it's roasted. Like, you know what? Coffee cake, like that sort of like caramelized top with the brown sugar, you know. It's the top of a coffee cake, just the brown crusty sugar,
or how they do creme brulee where they take the torch and just
caramelize. Once again, this is just the top of the creme brulee, just the crust,
the boiled cream.
Oh man, and that's why I love Port Charlotte. Like these are the sort of notes that you get in a Port Charlotte, is all that stuff, you know.
And the peat on top of it, just like that smoky something's. A really nice log, like just a fine oak log has been burned in the fireplace. It's not one of those cheap pine logs or something that's
those fucking pine logs.
Pine logs.
Those
pine. How dare they? How dare they? With all their sap and their popping.
I would say it's like a cedar log that's been put in there, you know, like.
Well, I think we could agree there's log in here.
It's like a cake roasted over a log with just the caramelized top.
Oh, I fucking love whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go in.
Okay.
Wow. So I think this is my favorite for the night, for sure. This one, this is the first time I've said that, so I'm actually more credible than you two. But
hey. Who invited this guy on the show anyway?
No, I think this is absolutely delicious. This is
this one I taste the cask, the wood that it's been in more than any of the other three.
I mean, you talk about like a whiskey being mind-blowing. This is mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
Like this, like as far as like, cause I held this in my mouth till
you couldn't.
Well, no, I mean, I even after I couldn't, I held it in my mouth because like and there was just a journey of notes of flavor all the way through. There's that nose that going back to the nose after the first taste is always my favorite.
This gives the it's like the experience of using wood oil to polish old furniture, and like that furniture is then polished. So like that's what this feels like. It feels like well polished old furniture that looks brand new.
I feel like I've taken wood polish and I've sanded it, and I've like the finest wood and the finest polish, and I've polished it and sanded it until it was perfect, and then I put it on a fire. I burnt it. Like that's what this is. And then I cooked the most delicious cake on that fire. Like, but all of those notes of like polishing it, finishing it, letting it dry, burning it, then putting the cake on, then eating the cake. It's like a magical ceremony of deliciousness.
The chat is finally on board with their tasting notes. They're finally saying that actually does sound good.
This is one of the best whiskeys I've ever had. And
well, Sludge.
Yeah, no, this is really, truly delicious.
I'm super happy. At the distillery store, they take 2 casks, one Broke-Laddie and one Port Charlotte, and they make it available as a Valinch. And if you go to the distillery, you can get a 500 ml bottle of it, hand poured, if you want. I don't recall ever filling any of these 2 bottles that I brought home, so I'm pretty sure the distillery staff did it for me because I've been tasting in the warehouse, and they left me unsupervised with a cask of Octomore. So that was not a good idea.
Yeah, because I love Port Charlotte, and in general, like the 10 is great. The MRC 1 is like amazing. This is even better than that though. Like this is the best Port Charlotte I have ever had.
Wow.
This is outstanding.
Wow.
But like it's 61%. You can't start with this. You gotta work your way up to this.
Yeah, we gotta end shortly because I'm gonna finish this entire little bottle, and that'll be it for the evening.
Yeah, no, that'll be it for the evening. All right. Yeah.
It really goes straight to the heart when you drink this. Like you can feel it moving through your system. You can feel it going down your it's not trachea. Trachea is a windpipe, right? So it's the other one.
The throat.
Esophagus.
Thank you. You can feel it, and it's not unpleasant. Is the thing. Like sometimes, especially with the peatier whiskeys, it burns. This doesn't burn. This is more like a toasty feeling as it goes down.
I think that is partially because we've climbed up the ladder to this point in alcoholic percentage. Like you can't just start with this at the beginning of a night. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, there's so much going on here.
Oh, it's just delicious.
Yeah. It's a great color too. Again, now that I've learned that color is meaningless.
We talk about it. We still talk about it every time. Like it's not like I still like the color. You know what I mean?
It's something you can appreciate in the whiskey still. So
it's such a beautiful golden color.
It's just because it's like if you get a Christmas present that's beautifully wrapped, that doesn't mean it's a bad. It's nice to have it beautifully wrapped.
Look how nice this is, and you appreciate it for a second, and then like. That's how I do it anyway.
But I also feel like you could use this whiskey to make weapons. Like there's something
to make what?
Weapons, like weaponry, bombs, Molotov cocktails, the works. Like you could.
I feel like if you hit someone with a Molotov cocktail made out of this, they would burn, but they would burn like, oh, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yay.
We do have to burn things down to make it better.
I don't know what that. Josh, you've been working on something called Written by a Kid, which people can look up on YouTube, right?
Well, that's an older project of mine, but like one of the best things, in my opinion, that I've worked on. It's one of my babies. Like I don't have children, so that is one of my children, and it does involve kids, so that at least makes me feel safe in saying that. But the idea was we had a mandate, which was we would get kids to make up stories on the spot, and these kids were like age 4 to 7, and all we did was ask yes or no questions for the most part, or we didn't ask any leading questions. We tried to get those stories as pure as possible. So these stories are kid created, plain and simple. And then we handed those stories off to professional directors and animators, and that mandate was they had to use what the kid said word for word. And it ended up being a really fun series of shorts that to this day, I'm like, if I died tomorrow, at least I created that. At least I helped shepherd that into the world, because it was such a happy little dumb project that ended up being like, we won a couple of animation awards, but mostly like it was fun to work with different directors. Every episode was a different director. We had Joss Whedon directed. Sorry, he did not direct it. It was directed by a guy named Daniel Strange, but he starred in it. And then Rhett and Link. If you look them up, they're very popular online. They directed and starred in the second episode. We had these amazing animators out of San Francisco called Ghostbot that did the third episode. It was just really fun. And the thing is, it was creative for everybody involved. And that was the thing that I liked the most about it, is that the kids got to create something that was untouched by adults, other than being sort of supported with professional skills and budget, so that, and my partner, writing partner who co-created it with me, and I are working on a TV version of that right now, which is more specific to
someone should greenlight that. Yeah, because written by a kid, that's such an amazing, like I've watched several of them, like it's fucking amazing, like really just like brilliant, and like such an obvious idea, but like everything is an obvious idea before it's like put into implementation. So I agree with you, like really awesome, Josh.
It was so fun to do, and again, I could watch a million more of them, and so I hope to be able to.
I hope that someone does greenlight it. There seems like an easily tapped market, just so delightful.
Children have like they haven't like put like the restraints that adults have, like as someone who teaches improv, like really we're just trying to teach adults to be kids again. And it's like the kids go through the process of like school and socialization, and they become out adults, and it's sad. It's really sad what we turn into, but that raw creativity is so, it's like a god. It's like the light of creativity. It's amazing. So
and it's in everyone.
The experience of growing into an adult is learning that there are lots of people that just want to put their thumb on your forehead and tell you no. And so kids between the ages of 4 and 9, they don't have that yet. They're told not to like touch fire, but that's basically it. Like, don't touch things that are hot. Don't eat poison.
Don't run in front of cars.
Yeah,
I was taught that one.
But they're not taught the specifics of story structure, and that's a really good thing, because nobody has yet said no, that won't work. And so they make it work. They just create it. And that was the basis of the show in and of itself. It seems weird sometimes. Like, you can watch those episodes and go, I wouldn't have ever gone that way, because it doesn't make any sense. And now where are we left? Where have we ended up? And I say embrace that.
Yeah, I think it's great. I love it.
You
I love
definitely
it so
need
much.
to do it.
I have only taken one sip of this, and then I've been sitting in the nose, which to me is a data point of like how great a whiskey is. Like, I could just hit here and smell this.
Yeah.
Like, I want to taste it, but also like I know the more I taste it, the sooner it'll be gone. Like, oh, dude, Josh is sciencing it. What is going on right now?
And the reason I'm doing this is because I need to know. I need to know what it's like.
You're like Thad.
Thad
needs to know.
You know what?
Put in 2 drops too.
You know what? I don't need to know.
Well, I feel like I could at least send out some forward scouts like Josh and Thad to find out, to bring back some information.
See what they think.
You know what they say? Ignorance is bliss.
And are we blissful?
Yeah. I would say don't add water to it.
Don't add water to this. Do not. Enjoy it as is.
I am not going to add water to this then. Thank you
so much.
Thank you for your service, both of you.
You're welcome. I am
Once
the canary in the coal mine.
Dear friends, thank you for taking that bullet that is a drop of water.
It is actually so much better without water.
Wow. Yeah, that's water, I think most of the time, I would say 2 out of 3 times makes the whiskey worse, I would say, or less enjoyable. But that's a pretty strong reaction. Like, seldom have I heard someone go like, no, do not. Absolutely do not put water in.
Well, if you love peaty whiskey, this actually added to the peat. Like, it didn't cut through it, but again, to an unpleasant level, I think.
All right, I've got
Yeah, I
almost
mean,
none
the
left,
amount of
so
peat that we have right now is perfect. So I don't. Are you sciencing it, Andrew?
I'm gonna try it. Yeah, just because
I'm not.
there's so little left. The nose, disappointment immediately. Again, everyone says it opens up the nose, you know,
Told you.
but you told me. I know you told me, but there's a little left. I had to know.
Yeah, for me with this whiskey, like the nose, like, and this is like the nose is like here, and the flavor is like here. But the nose is like I could just sit in this nose. It's so good.
Yeah,
Do not add water.
don't add water.
Thad, do you have any tasting notes you want to tell us about?
Oh yeah. So I'm just gonna start this off with Joseph. I disagree with you. I can't say that this is better than the MRC01. I think the MRC01 is one of the best Port Charlottes put out there in existence. And every time I add water to a Port Charlotte, it makes me question whether or not if I really need to add water to every little thing. Like I don't think I've ever added water to a single Port Charlotte and I'm like, this is better with it.
I don't think I've ever added water to a Port Charlotte ever.
I mean, yeah, Port Charlotte probably the best thing that Broke-Laddie puts out for me personally. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Pete. I love Octomore. Like the Octomore 1.1, phenomenal, amazing, great. But Port Charlotte is consistently just it hits all the right notes for me. So for me on the nose, like this is a Port Charlotte. Like it's a little peaty, but it has a lot more savory notes than peat does. I can see the yellow cake. And past all that, like I get like a little bit of spearmint, a very very small hint of soap, and some hot dog water.
Which
Uh-huh.
I know what you mean.
You know, take that for what you will, but there you go.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, exactly. On the taste, I definitely get some Scotch tape. I get some custard. I get cooked bananas. It's very hot, but you know, I also get a little bit of coconut there. And then on the finish, there's like a very dark chocolate, like 80% and above cacao level chocolate, but like it's a nice bitter, like chocolatey, velvety finish.
Yep.
For me, with water, it took down the peat a little bit for me, and the savory notes went down for me, and I got wet paper filling that gap. But on the taste, it became a little more peaty. There were like it was like a burning charcoal, some soot in there, and it became even hotter than it already was. But like I don't hate those notes. It's just it was already so great as it was already. And you know, like I don't do this often. I'll say that this is my favorite whiskey. So like
Yes.
Those are my notes.
Perfect.
So you
Without
definitely
water,
would say
it's
MRC1
perfect.
was your favorite whiskey then, because
Yeah.
you like MRC1 more than this.
Yes, but we're not tasting that right now. So head to head, I would definitely wait till the MRC01.
I think I'm gonna have to do like a head-to-head at some point with the MRC01, but I just don't want to open my other MRC01.
Yeah, and
We've
I've never
sold that
even
out
put
here
water.
now.
I've never even put water in like a 10, a Port Charlotte 10. I've never
It's so good. I don't want it to change.
Yeah.
This is delicious. This is
Oh, hokey.
extraordinarily good.
It doesn't taste like a toilet bowl.
I mean, I've never actually drank hot dog water, so we might, Hokey Engineer might be right.
Well, I disagree with that, Andrew, only because if you've eaten a hot dog, you've had hot dog water, because that shit is filled with hot dog water.
Fair enough. That's fair enough.
Every bite is a squirt of hot dog water. And really all it is salt and fat. It's not undelicious, but it's also like.
Yeah. Although I do feel like there's probably a mixed drink that like you could put hot dog water into. Like somewhere in the South, there's like, we're going to make you a tater tot surprise. And they put a little hot dog water in with, I don't know, probably like some sort of bourbon. And
Yeah, a bourbon, because I think you would call it with a bourbon with hot dog water would be like we're
Greasy
making you a
pig.
corn dog.
I think it'd be a greasy pig.
Greasy pig. That's better. Damn it.
Hog.
It's getting to be about that time, and I hate this time. I hate this time because you know what this time means is we have to ask you, Josh. We have to ask you a very serious question, and we apologize.
Get real with you. We gotta get real. It's serious. It's very serious.
We've been having fun, and we have to get serious. So, Joseph, go ahead. I can't.
You know what? It's been a rough week. I'm ready for it.
All right, Josh, you've had 4 whiskeys here, 5 counting the warm up, which we do before the show.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you've had these whiskeys and you've had time to deliberate. We've talked about them, and what Andrew and I want to know is, after these whiskeys, do you like whiskey?
No, I don't like whiskey. I fucking love whiskey. Is that what you wanted? Is that where you were going with that?
That's the classic response.
I fucking love whiskey. And in fact, I fucking love this whiskey.
Yes.
This is my new favorite. Lagavulin 16 doesn't take a back seat to this. It joins this whiskey in the front seat, and
Nice.
they take turns driving.
Have you had the Port Charlotte 10? You should just get some Port Charlotte 10 and give that a try.
69 bucks at
anywhere.
K&L.
You can get it anywhere.
$70 at K&L, and you will be happy.
No, I'm gonna do it because this was a revelation for me. This is absolutely fantastic.
I'm so
what my
happy.
mouth wanted.
I'm so happy.
So
yeah,
yes,
I love Port Charlotte.
I don't like whiskey. I fucking love it. I enjoy it as much as you motherfuckers do. You understand that? That's why you asked me on this show.
Yeah.
I need it.
I guess so.
It belongs in my body.
That might have been a factor.
Oh man. Again, my favorite hour of the week. Every week. It's sad. We're going to take a break now until September-ish. But that doesn't mean you guys don't have to stop drinking whiskey. You know, keep trying it. Write notes and evangelize it. Talk to people about what you love about whiskey, because this thing is so varied. It's so amazing. And most people, I think a lot of people just know bourbon, and that's what they think about whiskey, or they just know one particular whiskey and they think, oh, that's what all whiskey's like. It's like, no, Scotch is just, it blows my mind every single week. We have this stuff. Like, we've gone on a journey here though, of just like amazing stuff. And you don't have to go that crazy. Like, you go into K&L and talk to someone there. They will point you to some whiskeys that are just unbelievable, that are less than $60. Like, you don't have to break the bank on this, and the whiskey's not going to go bad. You can store it on your shelf for years and years and years. So it's not like wine where $60 is a lot. $60 will last you, you'll have like 30 times to go back to that bottle easily. Yeah.
And I do feel like the first good like Scotch you have is like, it's like opening a door in a whole nother world. You know what I mean? Because bourbons are like bourbon. And I like them, but like Scotch has such a variety of flavors to it, like.
And I will say this about the economics of drinking, period. My wife and I are wine drinkers as well. Like we got married on at a winery, and I do love a red wine. Red wine is, you finish the bottle in a night, and it's often near as expensive as a full bottle of bourbon or Scotch. So it is way less economical in terms of drinking pleasure than a bourbon or Scotch is, or an Irish whiskey. I say explore the whiskey world, because it's cheaper in the end, because you can't finish a bottle in a night. And if you can, good for you. You are
don't.
You are
don't.
A fucking mutant.
I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah, no, it's like you could buy like even 3 $20 bottles of wine. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you drink that in a night with a couple friends, So
exactly. And you'll still never get through that bottle of bourbon in a night with 3 friends.
No, please don't.
And I do love wine, but like the flavor profile of wine is so much smaller than whiskey. You know what I mean? Like, I love exploring it, but like whiskey just surprises me so frequently,
Well, whiskey's all over the place.
Right. I have never had a wine that smelled like burning eyeball, for example.
Well, then you're missing out, because I don't know if you've been to Portugal, but no, it's to me, whiskey is like a super bounce ball that you throw against a wall in a walled up room, and it just goes everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, super balls. I remember those. Now that's taking me back to my youth.
Yeah, super bounce balls. High bounce balls. The ones that you could get in like the grocery store vending machines with a quarter.
Clock, right? You turn the
yeah,
that blocks out.
And sometimes they would come out rainbow, and sometimes they would come out sparkly, but ultimately they all hit the wall really hard.
We have to wrap up. We're way over time. Not that I care. I would hang out with you guys all night, but I want to say I fucking love whiskey. Also, we fucking love Outside in Theater. Please subscribe and follow them. Geek Filter, thank you for our graphics. Thaddeus, thank for being the best part of our show, doing all the tech for us as well. And thank you people for watching at home and joining us in the chat. It's more fun when we get to join with you and you guys get to make us laugh. So I really appreciate it. And Josh, thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Thanks, man.
If you invite me back, and you should, because I fucking love whiskey, I will come back and drink whiskey with y'all.
Right. I'm hoping we're
Sounds
getting
like a
closer
deal.
to doing this again in person, like with real live people in the same room. Like that would be awesome.
Actually would be exquisite.
So y'all quit spreading disease. Okay, that's it.
Stop breathing, everybody. Stop sneezing.
Thad, Joseph, and I, and Josh. Thank y'all. Slush.
Slouch.
Couldn't catch you, keep trying. Couldn't catch you, keep trying.